My final project is on the Boston Bruins. How much are the Bruins currently worth? The current team value comes in at $1.19 billion. The uniqueness with the Boston Bruins media deal is that they have their own broadcast deal. NESN is partnered with the Bruins, and both companies benefit from this deal. However, the technology that is coming to the game and to the franchise means that the value of the team will increase. The Boston Bruins are also in a very historic city and one that has a very passionate fan base. This atmosphere around the team will be with the franchise forever and will keep the value of the team at an appealing price for the seller of the team. With all these factors adding up, I believe that an appropriate value for the team is $1.39 billion. What strengths do the Bruins franchise have? Some strengths that the Bruins have is their passionate fan base as well as their TV deal that allows a lot of flexibility and limited money spent for a broadcast deal. Recent renovations on the TD Garden, as recent as the 2019, are also a very positive thing that the Bruins have going for them. The new renovations allow the team to disperse the money for the renovations elsewhere. What the Bruins also have going for them is the new deal with ESPN. The new deal will bring in $400 million annually for the next 7 years. Although that doesn't affect the Bruins because each team only gets 3 games broadcasted a year, it will help grow the sport in hopes to grow the revenue for the franchise and for the sport as a whole. What weaknesses are in the Bruins franchise? A weakness that the Bruins have within their franchise is that their TV deal is under the same company that owns them. Although this deal is unique and offers many benefits, it can also create hardships with the deal. NESN does not have to pay the Bruins to broadcast their games, which means the Bruins lose out on revenue that could be made through media contracts. Although the Bruins probably get a cut of whatever NESN makes on their games, it is not nearly as much as if someone were to pay the Bruins to broadcast their games. Another weakness that the Bruins have is the competition for the top team within the city. Although the Bruins are well established in Boston, they still have to compete with 3 other historic teams within their respective sports. This can cause shadows to be casted on the franchise when things aren't going great. Finally, another issue that I see, which is more of a sport issue, is how low the market is. Hockey is such an expensive game and it's only accessible to a certain population. Although teams are doing an excellent job with movements such as Hockey is for Everyone, there's still a long way to go. Some strategic changes to increase the Bruins' value. Boston Bruins have a very unique culture, one that is instilled into Boston, the city of champions. This brand is so specific to Boston and to the Bruins that the value and market can be higher in comparison to other teams in the league. Exploiting this strength can help build the brand that the city prides itself in. Although the pandemic was nearly 3 years ago, the franchise still feels the impact of the pandemic-inflicted operating losses. A way to offset this is to start selling more shares to minority investors. Selling off pieces of the team will create some sort of revenue that can cover the losses that the franchise faced during the pandemic. How will the strategic values increase team values? Exploiting and putting an emphasis on the culture within the Boston Bruins franchise can increase the number of ticket sales. The NHL is a turnstile league with their main source of revenue coming through ticket sales. Building this culture can help improve the atmosphere within Boston on game days for fans that are attending the game. With an atmosphere and a better fan experience being created from it, more people want to attend games to see one of the teams within the City of Champions. An alternate plan to increase the value of the Bruins is by selling off shares within the franchise. Although this can mean that the value of the team could go down due to supply and demand, it could also increase the value of the team. The increase in value could be made possible by increasing the number of people who make decisions within the franchise. The increase of input on the team could lead to more effective ways of generating revenue, although they do need to avoid too much say, as it could cause conflicting and wrong opinions that could lead the team in the wrong direction. What issues could arise with the Bruins' future? The Bruins have it all as of late. They are backed by a strong fan base, have a supportive ownership group, have the history and credibility within the league, and they just made recent renovations to their arena. This still leaves room for issues. One other concern that comes to mind is the media contract. There didn't seem to be much information about the contract, and I feel like the Bruins are losing out on a lot of revenue within that realm. Another issue that could arise is not necessarily a team one, but a league one. The NHL sits fourth and last when it comes to the revenue across the four North American major sports. The concern with this is that the leagues around North America will be increasing the gap between them and the NHL when it comes to revenue. The NHL is doing everything it can to close that gap. This chase to compete with other leagues can impact the teams by creating lower cap spaces, less money for renovation, which can lead to issues within the arena. And as a fan, it could lead to an increase of ticket prices to make up for the lost revenue. The increase in ticket prices would be my biggest concern because as a sport, hockey is trying to become more accessible for everyone and not just a certain group. The increase in ticket prices will push hockey away from finding a new audience to generate revenue from, and it will become more and more isolated as a sport in comparison to the other leagues in North America.